Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of
the Happy Hippie Podcast.
I'm your host, Kilee Iris, and I'm seriously going to need you guys to grab yourselves a bag of freaking popcorn, put some extra butter on it, okay? Grab a cup of tea, sit down. Because in this episode, we're going to go into absolutely everything astrology. I'm going to give you guys the rundown, the basis, everything you need to know about astrology and how it affects your life. But before we get into that, the first chunk of this podcast is going to be me telling you a story time. So $500,000 showed up at my doorstep. And you guys are probably confused, like, girl, what do you mean? Let me just grab a quick sip of water before I get into this because I still can't even believe this happened. Like, I actually don't even have words. I cannot believe this happened to me. And I'm convinced the only reason it happened is for me to share the story. So buckle in your seatbelts. This happened about a week ago, okay? I am filming this episode around Christmas time, okay? So it's the holidays. Don't we just love coming back home for the holidays? It's just such a happy, joyful, cheerful time to spend with your family and loved ones. Right. So I film these podcasts in my home studio, and my home studio is in my family home. It's about 30 to 40 minutes outside of the city. Okay, so this is where this story time takes place. So it was a Thursday morning, and I was feeling a little bit down. You know, seasonal depressions got me feeling a little depressy, not gonna lie. And I was just kind of like in a slump. I was in a little bit of a mood, and I've never done this before, but I just spoke out loud to the universe and I said, please just like give me some kind of a sign and just keep going. And I don't normally ask for signs. This isn't something I normally do, but this Thursday morning felt like asking for a sign. And what I've learned is I need to be more specific with my freaking signs, because approximately 60 minutes later, a package arrived at my doorstep. Earlier that morning, I ordered something off Amazon. So I was just like, holy crap, Amazon Prime is fast, like scary fast. So I go to the front door and grab the package and start opening it up. I open up this package, this mystery package that appeared at my doorstep. Okay, I finally start opening it. Well, I didn't realize it was a mystery package. At the time, I just thought it was my Amazon package. So I open up the box. Well, that's weird. It's just a black sealed bag. You know, that doesn't look like Amazon packaging. So I cut open the bag. Inside that bag was another sealed bag. Same black bag, another sealed bag. You know, that's when I was like, okay, this is a little weird. This isn't Amazon packaging. So I go to the front of the box and I read the name on the box. Okay, it says Taylor. And that's when I realized, like, oh, this isn't my package, but it's to my address. The name that it's sent to is to Taylor. So immediately I'm like so curious on like what's in this freaking box. Like, why is there a bag inside of another black bag? Like, what's in this box? Like, what is in this box? And that's when Kilee entered Kim Possible mode. Okay, Inspector Gadget who? Nancy motherfucking Drew. I put my Google fingers to the test and I started doing some research on the names from the box. So this shipment came from the other side of the country. So I Googled the name of who sent the package. Next thing you know, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm looking at her LinkedIn. And as her profession, she analyzes salt in like labs, tests the minerals levels. And so she analyzes salt. So I was like, okay. So it's some kind of lab material, right? At this point, I'm like itching. I'm like, okay, I'm done Google searching the people's names on the package. Like, Taylor's not my name, but I already halfway opened this package. I'm so curious, like, what's in the box? This random package just like appeared at my doorstep an hour after I asked for a sign from the universe. What is in this box? I open it up. Oh, that's weird. Inside the third black sealed bag, inside of it was a gigantic clear bag with white rocks. White rocks filled to the top inside of it. Gigantic white rock. Initially, I was like, she does salt analysis. Like, this is a chunk of salt that they're analyzing. But then I realized on the packages, there was all these lines, okay, blank lines left for labels. And every single bag had no labels on it. There was nothing written in the entire box. And I thought, okay, if this was salt for some kind of lab analysis, there would be labeling. There would be some form of labeling on the box or anything written, but there was nothing. And it was sent to a home address, my home address, and not a lab. My next thought that bubbled into my psyche in that moment was, oh my gosh, like I asked the universe for a sign, you know, I own a crystal business. Like this is 4 pounds of clear quartz crystal. The universe has just blessed me with this 4-pound box of clear quartz crystal. Like I can sell these to my clients. This is like thousands of dollars of crystals just arrived at my doorstep. But then I looked a little closer and you know what? I don't think that's crystals. Because you see, the crystals were flaking off and rocks don't do that. And that's when I realized, oh, you know, maybe it's crystal meth. Yeah, so it was not 4 pounds of clear quartz crystals. It was 4 pounds of crystal meth. Just dropped off at my doorstep. It's just 4 pounds. Crystal meth dropped off at my doorstep. Right when I realized, like, oh my God, this is drugs. I did a quick little calculation. 4 pounds is about 1,800 grams, depending on the quality and grade of that crystal. The package is worth anywhere from $200,000 to $800,000. $500,000? $500,000? I could buy a house. You guys don't understand. Like, I felt like I was in Breaking Bad. Like, in this moment, I was like inside of a fucking movie. I could not believe this just happened. I've never even seen crystal meth in my life, let alone 4 pounds of it, 1,800 grams of it just at my doorstep. What the fuck? You guys don't understand, like, right when I did the calculation, so I did the math times the amount it was equals $500,000. Right when I did the calculation, a crackhead comes to my door, is knocking at my door, trying to break into my house. I honestly wasn't quite sure like what the white rocks were until the crackhead came knocking at my door like 5 minutes later. What? I could not believe the situation. When this crackhead tried breaking into my house, okay, I started having a full-blown panic attack. $500,000 of drugs is just sitting in my homeroom office. I didn't know what to do. So many thoughts were going through my head, okay? I was like, you know, if I deal with Taylor myself, I could buy a house. Obviously, I did the right thing. The crackhead's like knocking profusely on my door. I have a Ring camera, right? So I'm looking at the Ring. She's looking in my mailbox. She's looking under the doormat. She's moving rocks around. She's looking everywhere for this fucking package. I'm just curious on like what she thought I was gonna do. Like, did she think I was just gonna open the door and be like, oh, hey, girlie. Oh, you're 4 pounds of crystal meth? Like, here. Like, my brother's on the night shift, so he was sleeping in his room in the basement. She's angrily knocking on the door looking for this package. I sprint downstairs. I just wake up my brother. I'm like, wake up, wake up. He's mid-sleep. He's mid-REM cycle. He's in a deep slumber. He wakes up so confused. He's looking around like, what? There's $500,000 of drugs upstairs in my office and the crackhead's trying to break into our house and I don't know what to do. He literally it took him 6 minutes. 6 minutes to process what was going on. Like, what's real? What's a dream? What the fuck is going on? Like, he initially was like, okay, I'm going to go out there and talk to her. Like, what do you mean you're going to go outside and talk to Taylor? The crackhead looking for her fix? So then I called the police. The police came and basically my house was used for a sketchy drop-off location for $500,000 worth of drugs. Oh, I just love Thursdays. Me and my brother are upstairs in my office waiting for the police to arrive. Taylor by then is gone. Like, she's looking at other houses, random houses that aren't the number of my house. She's going to door looking for this package. About 10 minutes later, 3 police officers arrived. They come into my office. They grab the package. They were shook. That officer literally said, "Damn, we haven't seen this much in a long time." Like, they were shook. They could not believe how much drugs were dropped off at my house. They, like, were shocked. Just as shocked as I was. I was shocked. Oh, the story does not end there, folks. The police stayed outside my house for a few hours, just in case she'd come back, right? So the police left. Shortly after that, my brother went to work. And I had the privilege of being home alone. Keep in mind, I'm completely traumatized by this point, okay? My dog also was going ballistic. At this point, she's come back twice, knocking on my door, looking for the package, trying to break into my house. This has happened twice by this point, okay? 10 minutes after my brother leaves for work, I'm home alone, okay? I'm paranoid somebody's gonna come back. Hello? She is back. No fucking way. This crackhead came back. Taylor came back. Guys, I check my ring. She's wearing a different outfit every single time she came back and looked for this package. She was wearing a different outfit. What the actual fuck is my life right now? I don't know. By this point, my dad was like really scared for my safety. He was at work and actually spoke through the ring. So we have security cameras around our house, but you can't really like tell they're security cameras. Like the one at the front really does just look like a lamppost. And Miss Taylor Gurley, had absolutely no idea we had security cameras until my dad spoke through the ring to her, and it caught her so off guard. She really just came back to self-incriminate. She looked right up at the camera, and this was the only time out of the 3 times she came back and forth where we got a clear shot of her face. She looks right up at the camera and goes, "Oh, I'm here for my parcel. Was it dropped off here for me earlier?" My dad shouldn't have told her this, but I think he just really didn't want her to like break in and like scare me. So my dad goes, "Please have your package, by the way. Like, stop sending shit to our house." She goes in the most nonchalant voice, "Oh, okay," and then just runs. Sis is like, "Well, thanks for the warning. I'm gonna flee the country now." So my boss doesn't kill me. You know, it's funny because I actually forgot that I grew up in the hood until things like this happen. And I'm like, oh, just another Thursday. I'd be lying if I wasn't affected by this in some kind of way. I have been living since then in constant paranoia. I think if it wasn't for my dogs, she would have actually broken into my house because my dogs were going ballistic. Like, they sensed her energy and they were like, I've never heard my dogs bark like that. Like, my dogs scared her away. And shout out to my freaking dogs for that, because why does traumatizing, fucked up, crazy events just happen to me every other week? I don't understand. No, and maybe this is my fault because I asked for a sign, but damn! Universe, $500,000 worth of crystal meth proof? Like, come on, why couldn't that manifested as like $500,000 for sales in my business this month? Like, how the fuck did I manifest $500,000 of crystal meth just showing up at my doorstep? What is my life? And you want to know the craziest thing about it? I was so shocked in the moment. I could not believe what was going down. I filmed like an in-the-moment story time, so my emotions were just like crazy, right? And I sent the video off to all my friends, like telling them what happened. Not even a single person called me and asked like how I was doing. Every single person said like, "Oh yeah, something like that would happen to you." Like, what? Has like that many fucked up things happened in my life where a situation like this is just another Thursday? Like, why did this happen? I don't know. I've come to the conclusion that this happened for me to just share an entertaining story. So I hope you guys found entertainment. Also, what would you do? I'm so curious. I'm going to leave a poll to this episode. Like, what would you guys do if $500,000 of drugs showed up at your door? Like, every single person I tell the story to is like, Kilee, like, you should have sold that. Like, you could have bought a house, like $500,000. But ethically and morally, that is so wrong. And realistically, I did stop 1,800 grams of crystal meth from going into the streets. And crystal meth has like one of the highest drug user return rates. I think it's like 98.9% user return rate. Basically, if you try it once, you're kind of like addicted and it destroys your life. So, but at the same time, I am living now in a constant state of fear. Is there a drug lord currently after me? I don't know. Will there be another episode of the Happy Hippie podcast? I don't know. You guys are going to have to tune in next week to find out. I am a huge believer in everything happens for a reason. And as crazy and fucked up as this situation is, I think it did happen for a reason. And it's probably to push me to go into like the next chapter of my life. I just find it so ironic because the reason I came back here to Ontario was because out west, I literally caught my roommate moments before he could attempt murder on me. And I was so traumatized. And I came back here to like heal from that. And then this happens. And it's just like, I don't feel safe here. I feel like it happened for a reason though. It smells like an impulsive move is brewing around the corner. Where shall I go next? I don't know. Also, you think with a $500,000 drop off, you would at least do the bare minimum of researching if they have a camera, a dogs. Maybe don't do your drug drop off to a Storytime content creator's house. You know, like maybe that won't work out the best for you. Also, Taylor the sloppy queen. Like the package was dropped off sitting on my porch 15 minutes before you picked it up, girl. Like that was a 15-minute window for me to figure out exactly who you were and what was going on. And damn. But it was so crazy how every time she came back, she was wearing a different outfit. Like, how crazy is that? I was living in a movie in that moment. So later on that night, my dad showed our neighbors the ring footage of what happened. And my neighbor actually recognized the girl and knew where she lived because she's always outside of her deck smoking every single day. The girl lives like 10 houses down from me. She lives 10 houses away from me. I can see her backyard through my backyard. You know how uncomfy that makes me? If she was smart, she'd flee. Because let's be real, her boss is probably like her by now. And I just really hope they don't go after me. Like, please, I'm just an innocent bystander. It's not my fault you dropped your drugs off at a Storytime content creator's house. So that's how my week's going. How have you guys been, huh? Let me know the craziest thing that's ever happened to you on a Thursday. I think that was enough of an update of what's gone on with me. Let's get on into the contents of this episode. We're going to talk about everything astrology. So first off, what got me into astrology? Why did I even fall down the astrological rabbit hole in the first place? I kind of felt like an outcast my whole life. I felt like I never really fit in anywhere. And I just felt like astrology gave me so many answers to questions I was wondering. And it also just makes everything make so much sense. I feel like astrology really connects the dots and it makes things make a lot of sense, especially in specific people and character traits. It's scientifically proven that the phases of the moon affect the tides of the ocean. And if you think about it, us as human beings are like 75% water. You kind of have to be a fool to not realize that the moon phases and cycles are affecting your body in some kind of way. The stars during the time of your birth are kind of like a map, and there's a message that the stars want to tell you, and that's exactly what astrology is. Now let's break down the categories and go over the different elements. So there's 4 categories: fire, earth, air, and water. Let's start off with the fire signs. We have a Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. The fire signs are dominant, determined, passionate, can sometimes be impulsive, but overall very charismatic. They have a spirit of leadership and they're natural-born enthusiasts. The shadow traits of fire signs is that they can be aggressive, vain, and irritable. Next up, we have the earth signs, which consists of Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. The earth signs are practical and grounded. they tend to like to stay in the safe, concrete, more material side of life. They are creative in a practical way. However, they need facts, not words, to believe in something. The shadow trait of earth signs is that they can be selfish, stubborn, and critical. Next up, we have the element of air, which consists of Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. The air signs are dynamic, intellectual, creative, and objective. They love freedom and are very sociable and friendly. They get along with a lot of people. The shadow traits of air signs can be cold, superficial, rebellious, and indecisive. Next is the element of water, which consists of Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces. Water signs are emotional, sentimental, and highly empathetic. They can use their intuitiveness to see beyond the material world and dive into the more mystic side of life. Although at their worst, they can be scattered and unstable and sometimes spend a little bit too much time daydreaming. It's interesting because in the Middle Ages, astrology and medicine were very closely connected. Each zodiac sign connects to a different part of the body, and depending on your chart, you can be more likely or less likely to have certain ailments, all based on your zodiac sign. One time I was in a situationship with this crypto millionaire. We were in a hotel in a different country, and I was just trying to bond with him over how, we're both the outcasts. Like, I'm an astrology nerd, like, you're a crypto nerd, like, we're like the outcasts. I was just like smiling, being all cute, and he looks me straight in the face. And he goes, well, at least I make money from my hobby. Fast forwarding 1 year later, I now own an astrology business. So if there's any other astrology nerds like me out there listening to this episode and you love your zodiac sign, be sure to check out my shop, lunarloft.ca. We sell zodiac art prints that I created, as well as zodiac candles. So if you want to get some fun things for your zodiac sign, be sure to check out my store, lunarloft.ca, and you guys can actually use the code happyhippie to save yourself some money at checkout. It's actually interesting as you get more and more into astrology and you kind of start seeing patterns in your life with people. All the friends you keep making tend to be the same zodiac sign. For me specifically, for some reason, 80% of the men I have dated have all been Capricorns. I'm just like not compatible with them, but my energy is just like a magnet for narcissists. So I should be attracting Capricorn men left, right, and center. I'm not saying all Capricorns are narcissists, but however, when you've had repeated experiences over time and time again with specific individuals, you're like, I don't know if I want to be with this zodiac sign again. And for me, that zodiac sign happens to be Capricorn males. It's actually so crazy. Like one of my ex-boyfriends, sun, moon, and rising were all in Capricorn. It's so funny. And I was just there like, please show emotion. Like, babe, that's borderline sociopath. It's that kind of interesting to see patterns with certain zodiac signs in your life. For those of you who are confused and you're like, Kilee, what is sun, moon, rising? What does that even mean? Let's dive on into the talk about the birth chart. So the astrological birth chart uses the date, time, and location of your birth to recreate a map of the sky in that exact moment you were born. Your chart can provide deep insight into your personality, deepest desires, and your overall purpose in this lifetime. It's kind of like a personal blueprint of who you are. A message from the stars, if you will. In my personal opinion, learning how to read astrological birth charts is like a form of a superpower. Okay, it's a superpower. You can literally find out absolutely everything about a person at a glance of their chart. You can't tell me that's not powerful. I use astrology as the tool. I read every single person I meet's birth chart and I can know everything about them. I don't even have to have a conversation with the person I'm meeting to know absolutely everything about them. I can just glance at their birth chart and then everything comes together. It's pretty cool. It's like a superpower. You're probably now like, okay, so how do I read my birth chart? Let's get on into all the aspects of the birth chart and what the heck they mean. Because for those of you who have never looked at a birth chart and you look at a birth chart, you're probably like, I'm scared. What the fuck does this mean? Let's break it down. What is a birth chart? What does it even mean? Let's break down the components. So basically, each aspect of the birth chart represents a different planet. And each planet in your birth chart will correspond to a different zodiac sign, all depending on your time of birth, location, and date. I feel like a lot of people have like a negative connotation with astrology because there's kind of like these stereotypes for each sign. Some people don't like astrology because they've heard like so many bad things about their sign. You really can't tell much about a person just based on their sun sign. So your sun sign is basically the zodiac sign that you know you are. Everyone knows their sun sign. For example, let's talk about what's referred to as the big three. The big three are considered the main parts of your astrology chart, which consists of your sun, moon, and rising. Some people call the rising ascendant. So let's break down what these ones mean first. Basically, your sun sign is the zodiac sign that you know you are. Your sun sign basically represents your ego. It's your basic identity and your day-to-day self-image. Next, you have the moon. So the moon shows your inner you. It's your internal world. It's your emotions. And then your rising sign / ascending is your outer shell of how you appear to others. It's how we come across to strangers. It's that mask that we wear in public. It's the outer you. It's important to look into someone's birth chart because your sun sign can be deceiving. Like you can have somebody who's like a Leo sun, okay, super extroverted, bold, fiery, but have like a Pisces moon and be super emotional. Their sun, moon, and risings might all like contradict each other. But yeah, the sun, moon, and rising are basically the main 3 components of your astrology chart that make up your true self, your inner self, and your outer self. The next planet in the birth chart is Mercury. Mercury is the planet that rules communication. It's your talking style, how you communicate, what your interests are. And it also rules your thoughts. The next planet is Venus. Venus is the planet of money and love, and it shows how you show up in relationships. Your affection, your style, your taste, your romantic desires, this can all be figured out through your Venus placement. The next planet is Mars, which is the planet of action and desire. It shows your passions and how you go about your goals. The next planet is Jupiter. Now, this placement will show your luck in this lifetime. Jupiter is all about different fulfillments, opportunities, and your luck. The next planet is Saturn, which is all about your limitations. This planet shows your responsibility, your self-criticism, your maturity levels. Next, we have Uranus, which is the planet that shows how you change. It's about your inner rebel, okay, your inspiration. Revolution, okay, your independence is all shown through your Uranus placement. Next planet is Pluto, which is the planet of evolution and transformation. This planet talks about death and rebirth, your power. Next, we have Lilith, which is all about your subconscious, your hidden emotions. The midhaven is how others view you and your career in this lifetime. Your North Node placement shows your purpose in this lifetime and can allude to your potential / how you develop in current life. Whereas your South Node shows how you developed in a past life. South Node can show your karmic past and can allude to karmic debts you might have to pay out in this lifetime. So that's just a very simple breakdown of each component of the birth chart. Listen to the message from the stars. Look into your birth chart, okay? Let me know which zodiac placements you have and which aspects of your chart and how that affects you. It can make so much things in your life just make sense. I highly recommend it. We also hear a lot about Mercury retrograde. What does it mean when a planet goes retrograde? A retrograde happens when a particular planet appears to be going backwards in the sky from the perspective on Earth. Energetically, retrograde periods are associated with mishaps, setbacks, and just an overall period of slowdowns. So obviously each planet going retrograde can mean a different thing. I feel like the most common retrograde we hear about is Mercury retrograde. As I'm filming this episode, Mercury's in the microwave again. What does it mean when Mercury goes retrograde? Well, Mercury is the planet of communication, and it's also associated with technology. So during Mercury retrogrades, we can have like more of a blockage in our throat chakras. We can sometimes not communicate as clearly as we'd like to. Technology might randomly not work and break down on you. You know what I want to know right now? What Taylor's zodiac sign is. Rat Cat Queen Taylor. I want to know what Miss Taylor's zodiac sign is. If I were to guess, she'd either be a Scorpio or a Gemini. with the way she was switching up on the ring, like angrily trying to break in and being like, oh, okay, hee. Like that's giving Gemini. That is such a switch up, but also a little dark and mysterious. So she could be a Scorpio too. I still cannot believe that happened. Like, what the fuck is my life? The craziest thing about that is like I asked for a sign from the universe. Like next time I'm going to be like, hey universe, can I have a positive sign? Like, damn, I got to be more specific out here. This episode is part 1 of kind of breaking down everything about astrology and how it affects you. We didn't really go into the difference between sidereal and tropical astrology, the 12 different houses, what they mean. I'm going to do a part 2 to the astrology episode later on in the future where I will dive further down the astrological rabbit hole. So follow the channel, subscribe if you haven't yet already to stay tuned for a future part 2 of the astrology episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Sorry it was a little bit of a trauma dump. I hope you found some form of entertainment out of my unfortunate life events. Like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe, follow the channel if you have not yet already. Rate me 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It helps me out so much and it means the world to me. Do I have a hit on me? Will I make it to next week's video? Is a drug lord going to hunt me down? I don't know. You guys are gonna have to tune into next week to find out, I guess. Crackhead tried to break into my house to steal this package.
Hi, I was just wondering if you had a parcel here for me. It was dropped off earlier.
Your package is gone. The police have it, by the way.
Oh, okay.